All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning! Woo! Yes. What a great gathering this is. A very warm welcome to all of you for the 12th annual Women Fighting Hunger Breakfast. Yes! We want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us this morning. Now, for those of you that I have not yet had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Karen Holmes Ward. I'm the Director of Public Affairs and Community Services at WCVB TV Channel 5. Yay, Channel 5. And I'm also a longtime friend of the Greater Boston Food Bank and have been involved with Women Fighting Hunger and supporting my good friend Catherine D'Amato for many years. The mission and the members of this organization are very near and dear to my heart. Now, for those of you who may be new to this event, for the last dozen years, the Women Fighting Hunger Committee and its supporters have created a philanthropic movement to improve the health and well-being of the communities where they live and work. So this morning, we recognize and honor this group whose generous support takes us steps closer to feeding the 1 in 3 people across our state that are facing food insecurity and achieving our mission to end hunger in Eastern Massachusetts. This morning, we're going to be honoring staff, dedicated volunteers, the board of directors and advisors, and our food distribution partners, pantries, meal programs, mobile markets, among others. And we're also going to be honoring our many generous sponsors. All of you in the room, thank you very much. And we'll be recognizing instrumental government officials like our honoree, Kate Walsh. And past honorees like Treasurer Deborah Goldberg. And others who are with us this morning who will continue to help us meet the soaring demand for nutritious food during these challenging times. We're also going to hear from our neighbors who benefit from the nourishment provided by the Greater Boston Food Bank and its partners. And of course, we'll be honoring you, our donors, partners, friends who continue to support our shared purpose to end hunger here. So without further ado, it's now my privilege to introduce the 2 women leading this year's event, Heather Blier and Courtney Doyle, co-chairs of Women Fighting Hunger.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. We are thrilled today to join you to support such an important cause. My name is Heather Blier, and I'm here with Courtney Doyle, and a little bit of feedback. We are so proud to be co-chairs of Women Fighting Hunger, a dedicated and compassionate group of business and community leaders working with the Greater Boston Food Bank to raise awareness about food insecurity and end hunger here in Eastern Massachusetts. The Greater Boston Food Bank is committed to the belief that access to healthy food is a human right, regardless of an individual's circumstances. Through policy, partnerships, and by providing free, nutritious, and culturally responsive food, GBFB is committed to addressing the root causes of food insecurity and ending hunger here. Since its inception, Women Fighting Hunger has responded to that call by helping to provide 4 million nutritious meals to people facing food insecurity. They recognize that those in need in Eastern Massachusetts could be their neighbor, could be living next door. And they have responded with compassion and generosity. Let's take a closer look.
Over the last 13 years, we've created a philanthropic movement to improve the health and well-being of the communities that we live in. Since that time, this initiative has raised well over $2 million. That's over 4 million meals to kids, families, and seniors, right here in Eastern Massachusetts. But our work with the Greater Boston Food Bank goes beyond feeding our neighbors. We're women fighting hunger. Together with GBFB, our focus is also on nourishment, nutrition, health and wellness, nourishing our neighbor.
No meal is promised. When you sit at the table, it's a blessing to be able to have a meal, a well-rounded meal.
The Greater Boston Food Bank's goal is to have a lasting impact on wellness by providing sustained access to healthy food for kids, families, and seniors in Eastern Massachusetts. GBFB's nutrition experts ensure that over 96% of the food they distribute meets the highest nutrition standards. Staff dietitians teach healthy eating through educational programs and resources such as Click and Cook. But still, 1 in 3 people are food insecure in our community. That 1 neighbor in 3 could be living around the corner, down the street, or even next door. Women are fighting hunger in our community with nutrition, health, wellness, and GBFB. With our support, advocacy, and dollars, Women Fighting Hunger will continue to nourish our neighbors.
Isn't that amazing? The challenge we know is still daunting. But as the video shows you, we're making progress, and there's so much we can still do. We give out 600,000, we give out food to 600,000 people every month in 190 communities over Eastern Massachusetts, and advancing health and wellness through a sharp focus on nutrition. Since 2010, more than 3,000 women and men have engaged with us, and with the help of over 100 sponsors, Women Fighting Hunger through the years has raised more than $2 million, which is pretty extraordinary. And in turn, we've provided 4 million healthy, nutritious meals.
The mission of this committee is not only to address the emergent needs of our neighbors, and the need continues to be great, but also to ignite passion for this important cause for years and generations to come. We are proud to share that the Women Fighting Hunger Committee now has a Young Women's Program, working and learning alongside our incredible committee members. If we may, we'd like to take a minute to recognize the Women Fighting Hunger Committee, including our inaugural members of the Young Women's Program, who make this all possible. Will you please stand?
Thank you. Let's also thank our many generous sponsors for today's breakfast. We are really grateful, truly, for all that you've done for us and that you're here in attendance with us today. We'd especially like to thank our presenting sponsor, National Grid. Yeah. National Grid is represented today by Tricia Brabs, Vice President of Contracts, Controls, and Work Plan Development, and Tricia will be up shortly. But Tricia, can you please stand? Thank you, and we'll be hearing from Tricia momentarily.
Our goal today is ambitious, to raise enough money to provide more than 1 million nourishing meals for our neighbors. It's a big goal and a significant ask, and we need your support to achieve it. The Greater Boston Food Bank and the people they serve are depending on us.
It's not always apparent, but we're surrounded by neighbors who are in need. Many of the statistics you'll hear this morning, one that puts so much into perspective for us. A recent study found that when student loan payments resume this fall, more than half of the borrowers express that they'll need to choose if they make a loan payment or they pay for their necessities. And by necessities, that means food and housing. So many, far too many, of our neighbors are struggling to put food on the table. And that's why we have this event and why your support is so crucial.
We together are a determined and passionate group that believes that together, along with your support, we can end hunger throughout Eastern Massachusetts. So thank you in advance for your help. We're thrilled that you've all joined us this morning. We are on a mission, and we're grateful that you're standing with us today. Now, please allow me to introduce Tricia Brabs, Vice President of Contract, Controls, and Work Plan Development for National Grid. Tricia?
Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Courtney, for everything you do. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for your warm welcome. It is such a pleasure and privilege to be here today and get the opportunity to speak for a few moments. At National Grid, we believe that businesses have a duty to contribute to the communities they serve. For us, those communities span 20 million customers across New York and Massachusetts. In Massachusetts alone, we provide gas or electric or both to over 242 cities and towns throughout the state. Our mission is to meet, through the delivery of clean energy, the climate goals that will avert the worst impact of climate change. But no less important is our goal to build resiliency, sustainability, and social justice in those communities that we serve. It's about providing people with the opportunities they need to thrive. Power is foundational. Our lives can't function without it. We need it to stay warm. We need it to stay safe. We need it to eat. The reality is that more than 1 out of every 3 of our customers are eligible for economic relief programs, yet only about 1/3 of those customers take advantage of them. That's why our partnership with the Greater Boston Food Bank is so important. Food is foundational, and we don't want people to have to choose between feeding their families or keeping them warm. When we look at organizations with which to partner, the impact of the Greater Boston Food Bank was obvious. It's measurable, it's understandable. We know where our dollars go. We know how many meals those dollars equate to, how many families are fed, how many children are getting the nutrition they need. Our support of the Greater Boston Food Bank makes the connection between energy security and food security. The same population is being burdened by both, and there's a gap there, and if we work together to fill that gap, then we can really make a difference. Now together, we're addressing financial security. So I leave you with the answer to a simple question. Why wouldn't we partner with the Greater Boston Food Bank? Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia, and thank you for your partnership. It gives me great pleasure now to introduce a woman that I call my shero. I have known her, yes, she's a shero. I have known her for a very long time. Won't say how long. And her dedication and passion to the Greater Boston Food Bank through all these years has been consistent. She has made the Greater Boston Food Bank one of the most impactful food banks in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, Catherine D'Amato.
I just said to Karen, Alice Walker, right? Shiro. She said, yeah, right. That's a great thought. Shiros are really important. You're all Shiros this morning, so thank you for being here and carrying that with us and helping the food bank. A couple of things before I give you a few formal remarks and then introduce our honoree this morning is big thanks for the wait staff this morning. I grew up in the food business and the restaurant business. This is hard stuff. And also to Team GBFB that is here. We have so many folks who choose to work for the Greater Boston Food Bank when they could be any place else and do well. So to Team GBFB that is here and that is back at the facility, just thank you so much. And while we're going to recognize, there's a bit of an echo here, but I'm just gonna try to move that out. Big voice, get a bit of a feedback here. We're going to, be able to recognize Kate and say some lovely words about her. We also want to thank our past honorees that I have been so had the pleasure to work with over the years, and they've all done amazing things to move the work of the Greater Boston Food Bank forward, like Treasurer Deb Goldberg, the Honorable Karen Polito, Olivia DeMichaelis, Joanna Travis, renowned chef and emeriti Jody Adams, and the women of Fidelity Investments all have helped us in years past, so I want to thank you for being here today. There we go. I mean, it's amazing that you get to work with women who have the power to change something. And the truth is you all do. You don't have to be an elected official to do that. You just have different kinds of power, to do that, or authority. But you all have that. So look, hunger is a pervasive problem in our country. Food insecurity is on the rise again. But I want to note that hunger is not an emergency. It's now an everyday pervasive problem in our country. More importantly, we have the power to end it. There's no doubt about it that we've been through some tough years, and women need our help. Children need our help. The cost of housing and food are at an all-time high, and food insecurity is very big across this state. This little state that is very resourced is experiencing an enormous rise. When I stood here a year ago, I felt pretty hopeful, and I said, hey, there's some great things to look forward to. We're attacking childhood poverty. We're really going to be ahead of it this time. But I come to you today that I feel like that was one, optimistic of me, which is my role, to stay positive, but also was a bit of a false positive, because now we're seeing sharp increases in poverty, especially among children. That false positive showed us that America rose to 12.4% poverty from 7.8 in 2021. So this was the largest jump ever. So we're in a bit of an odd place. It's hard to understand all of these various things that are all true. And that's what makes our work really challenging. But here in Massachusetts, we have really, really good things to be hopeful about, which I'll share with you. Food insecurity and our access report, which we collaborated with Mass General Brigham's research team, paints this sobering number, which you heard earlier, 1 in 3. 1 in 3, just count off your table. 1 in 3 in our state, a prosperous, well-funded, progressive, caring state, is having this issue. And think about the other states in our country that have that as well. Our food distribution partners, you've heard this number, there are 600 of them across 190 cities and towns. Again, that's hard to put your hands around because our name, Greater Boston Food Bank, implies we serve Greater Boston. That's not true. We serve 190 cities and towns. And I will say to you that we are simply trying to catch our breath at the Greater Boston Food Bank. We are trying to keep up. We are trying to meet this enormous and historical demand. And as our founder, Kip Tiernan, would always say to us, it's not enough. It's just not enough. And it's proving, more importantly, in these times that it's not enough. Last year, we purchased 75% of the food we gave to all of those agencies. And when we give it to them, I want you to hear this, it's free. It's F-R-E-E, free. And I know we have agency representatives in this room that understand that the power of your support and the power of the food we can purchase and the power of the donations of food, money, and time are what enable us to do our best to achieve or to try to meet the need of 600 agencies in 190 communities. But despite these numbers, people are paying more to live. We all are paying about $700 more a month for the same goods and services than we were just a few years ago. And it doesn't matter whether you have $10,000 of income or $100,000 of income, you're still experiencing the same thing. But I do remain hopeful. I do remain hopeful because of you and because of the things that we can do to make sure that we purchase, distribute, and pass along to our agencies free, healthy food to nourish our neighbors across the state. I have other reasons to be hopeful. We have in place today both state and federal administrations with general prioritization of food insecurity. We have also had previous administrations with similar priorities. We have been fortunate in our state to have great partnerships with our local and state government. Having come off a national conference at the White House, which many of you heard me say last year, it hadn't happened since 1969. So what has occurred? A lot has occurred, and you can look all of that up. But closer to home, the Massachusetts legislature and the Healey administration passed a recent budget which included historic hunger relief investments, including more than a half a dozen key initiatives, including one of the most significant ones, permanent funding for school meals. The key word here is permanent. And for those of you in government that understand this, permanent is huge. It means you don't have to go back year after year after year to get those resources. It means that it's there for children, and that matters. We also saw increases in programs that the Greater Boston Food Bank has, and our state commodity program that purchases from mass growers much of the food that we distribute. Money comes in, it helps our economy, it helps farmers, it helps manufacturers and distributors, and guess what? It feeds people with healthy product. But another sign of hope for me is Kate Walsh. Go ahead. No surprise to you that Kate Walsh is our 2023 Woman Fighting Hunger this year. And it's really simple. It was the most amazing choice that I think Governor Healey could have made. So I'm so thankful to you that you said yes. I don't know why you said yes, but you did. Even Lieutenant Governor Toledo said, Kate, what were you thinking? And I hope you have the support behind you. But listen, she's been a great friend of the Greater Boston Food Bank. She understands this issue. We've partnered with her when she was at BMC for your 13 years there, Kate. But now the Secretary of Health and Human Services leads the Executive Office of Health and Human Services, which provides access to medical and behavioral health care, long-term services, supports key nutritional and financial benefits. She represents a team across 11 agencies and the Mass Health system. They all work daily to provide services in their own programs, which is nearly that same statistic of 1 in every 3 Massachusetts residents is touched by some program or services under Kate's leadership. I think you have the most team members of the state under you, and you probably have the largest budget. No easy task. She leads one of the strongest health and human services operations in the country, a safety net for most and many of the Massachusetts residents that find themselves in need. And much of our work, I should say, is the same person or similar, or people who are experiencing difficulties. So the list of her accomplishments goes on and on. Despite leaving a $6 billion operation, I think you decided at BMC to go have a few more billions, but she's also served as the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of Brigham and Women's Hospital, Chief Operating Officer for Novartis Institutes for Biomedical Research, and at Massachusetts General Hospital in positions including Senior Vice President of Medical Services and MGH Cancer Center. So while a very impressive list of achievements, I want to give you a few just anecdotal pieces. It's why I was so thrilled that we could honor you, Kate, but also recognize the work that you've done in this fight. The food pantry that emerged in your leadership and with your donors at Boston Medical Centers is one of the most unique pantries in the United States. When it was developed 20, I'm going to say plus years ago, it was seen as this emerging little crazy model that doctors might give you script, for your health. Like go and get, greens, leafy greens, or okra, or this kind of vegetable, or that kind of protein in order to address your medical need. What was then this little kooky idea is now both an emerging and accepted model across the United States. And we have had the pleasure to work with that team and to keep telling people when they say, is there anything that takes care of people's nutritional health? And we go, yes, let us take you to the Boston Medical Center. Awesome. The second is that she has always been there to help members of the Greater Boston Food Bank's team. Their family might be experiencing a tragedy or a trauma. And guess where they were taken? To Boston Medical Center. And that would be one of my calls, was, Kate, we have a team member's son that was just in a tragic car accident at your hospital. Or we have a volunteer. Or we have someone who's received just a tragic diagnosis. Can you help them? And you know what? She always did. Very silent, very quiet, but very appreciative, Kate, of that. And you still have done that for me and our team, even in your current role. Look, she's always sees the good in people and the good in the investment. That's what I appreciate about her. I've brought her a zillion ideas. I think one of my most favorite, I was trying to get her involved in something, and it required a lot of money. And she said, Catherine, I don't have that much money. She was at Boston Medical Center, but she said, but I want to be involved. How can I help? We figured it out. But lastly, you're a good friend. You're a good friend to those who hurt and our neighbors who need help. And when you all work in your companies, you know the politics, you know what you have to navigate, so does Kate. But when we saw that Kate took this role, the collective sort of efforts of folks fighting this issue across the state, I'm telling you, there was universal applause and support for that. So now, before I invite Kate to the stage, we have a special surprise message for you.
As CEO of the Boston Medical Center Health System, Kate knew that steady access to nutritious food is vital to the overall health and well-being of our communities. She championed initiatives like the Preventative Food Pantry to help patients feed themselves and their families. And this is the perspective she now brings to her work as Secretary of Health and Human Services. With Kate at the helm of HHS, Massachusetts is leading with innovative food access programs like SNAP Healthy Incentives and Restaurant Meals, flexible services, and food security infrastructure grants. It's such an honor to have her as part of Team Massachusetts. So congratulations, Kate, we love you. And to everyone in the room tonight, thank you for all that you do to fight food insecurity in Massachusetts. I look forward to continuing our work together to do everything we can to end hunger once and for all in our state.
And with that, would you please join me in honoring our 2023 Woman Fighting Hunger awardee, Massachusetts Secretary of Health and Human Services, Kate Walsh. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for this very special blue plate. I'm really so grateful to be here and very humbled by this tremendous honor. You know, I've been secretary for less than 8 months, so this is feeling just a tad premature, but I've been so privileged to work with and witness the great work of the incomparable Catherine D'Amato and her wonderful team at the Greater Boston Food Bank. You know, at Boston Medical Center, there was really no escaping the inextricable link between health and hunger. For more than 2 decades, and this predates me, BMC launched the first hospital-based preventative food pantry and test kitchen in the country, allowing doctors to prescribe food just like they prescribe medicine. It's such a simple idea. My predecessor, Elaine Yulian, started this, and she was supported by the Boston Medical Center Board of Trustees. We have 2 members here today. I want to thank them for their support for that wonderful innovation, which persists today. So physicians screen patients for food insecurity and hunger just like they ask you about your blood pressure. This wouldn't have happened without the wisdom, courage, and vision of Catherine D'Amato and her team. And people like you who support her organization, because just like all of the other Greater Boston Food Bank sites, the food at Boston Medical Center is FREE. And I think that that ability to support access to food is something that was really one of the things that everybody who worked at Boston Medical Center was so proud of. So now I have the opportunity and some of the challenges that come along with trying to reduce hunger and food insecurity across our state. I'm so privileged to be part of Governor Healy and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll's administration, because our whole administration is confronting this problem with urgency and determination. Because we're a state that has so much to be proud of, but we still have far too many residents who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Since the start of COVID, our SNAP caseload has grown 45%. As you heard, 1 in 6 people in Massachusetts are on SNAP. That's more than 1 million people. 1 million people, that's an alarming number, but more alarming are the data that Catherine quoted, that 1 in 3 families in our state are food insecure. And so to combat food insecurity, we have to remember that this is not just a problem of scarcity, but it's a problem of access, affordability, and inequality. That's my phone, sorry. I was going to pretend it was somebody else's. But I want to come back to this point about inequity. According to the USDA, 20% of Black households and 16% of Hispanic or Latino households were food insecure at some point in 2021. That's compared to 7% of white households. Ending hunger means addressing root causes of these inequities. It means developing a public health response, because fundamentally, food insecurity is a public health problem. On average, adults who were food insecure have 18% more chronic conditions than food secure households. They're 11% more likely to be diagnosed with hypertension. They face higher healthcare costs on an annual basis, almost $1,800 each year. And nationally, that adds up to $77 billion in added healthcare spending. Think about if we could divert $77 billion to addressing hunger. And this effect is only marginalized for children and adolescents, magnified, sorry. Kids who are food insecure face higher rates of developmental problems. They're diagnosed with asthma at a 19% higher rate and depression at a 28% higher rate. And notably, they present in the ED 26 times more than their food secure peers, so they miss school. Solving this crisis will take an all hands on deck support. And thankfully and luckily, the ball's rolling. This summer, as you heard, Governor Healy announced that Massachusetts is one of the first states in the nation to guarantee free school meals for K through 12 students. In 2019, 1 out of 4 food insecure kids were not eligible for these meals. And now we have bridged that gap. Every kid in Massachusetts in public schools has access to free, nutritious meals.
We're implementing a variety of solutions to meet folks where they're at, whether it's in school or, SNAP. You can use your SNAP benefits at a restaurant, as Catherine said, and food trucks. We're one of the few states that is doing this program, and the food trucks are particularly important for our homeless neighbors who can access food in those settings. We've also, we're also adding vendors to our SNAP Healthy Incentives program, which is a program that not only helps people get access to nutritious food, but it has a secondary benefit of supporting family farms across our state. And the work goes beyond SNAP. We're working across all of the state agencies and secretariats to root out food insecurity statewide. In the Medicaid or Mass Health program, our 1115 demonstration program expands flexible services, letting us use Medicaid dollars that were intended to pay for medical care to also address food and housing insecurity. We're investing in food infrastructure via the food security and infrastructure grants to ensure that we have a strong, resilient food supply for years to come. And when new arrivals come to our Commonwealth, the migrant families that are on our doorstep, one of the first things we do is connect them with WIC and SNAP to ensure that all families and all children across our state have access to nutritious food. None of this work would be possible without community-based agencies, particularly and especially the Greater Boston Food Bank. This year alone, as one of DTA's Department of Transitional Assistance SNAP outreach partners, this food pantry has served more than 1,000 members who apply for SNAP benefits. They provide food to over 600,000 residents and support about 70% of the food insecure population in our state. And last year, as you know, they distributed 90 million healthy, nutritious meals to our neighbors in need. We're so lucky to have Catherine and her whole team as partners in this work. Ending hunger is a collective responsibility as public servants, as community leaders, and as people. And we're so lucky to have you, the people in this room, who have cared to engage on this issue and to look at our neighbors who are struggling with food insecurity and to say, what can I do to help? This is going to take a multifaceted approach. These are hard problems. As Catherine said, the answers aren't emerging from the mist. It's going to take cross-agency, cross-sector, cross-secretariat work. And it's really not only just about putting food on people's tables, it's about giving people the tools to escape the cycle of poverty and hunger. It means investment in education, in job training, in affordable housing. It means promoting economic opportunities and social safety nets for people in need. And it means renewing our commitment that no one in our state goes to bed hungry, because you won't stay healthy or learn or grow or be able to work if you're hungry. It's that simple. So thank you again for this incredible honor and for everything you are doing to build a future where hunger and food insecurity is just a distant memory. Thank you.
I just said to Kate it wasn't premature. Listen, it's always important to hear from the person who has the lived expertise is on the side of receipt. And the experience is important to share with you, and it's also a very humbling one for somebody to stand up here and tell you that story. But it's my honor to welcome Deborah Stetler, who's a client advocate and volunteer at Greater Boston Food Bank partner Quincy Community Action Program, to share her story.
Good morning to you all. It's an honor to be here with you this morning and to share my story. It's also a unique opportunity to tell you why your support for the Greater Boston Food Bank is so important. I'm originally from New York and came to Massachusetts to attend Suffolk University, where I got my associate's degree. I've always worked. I'm a very independent person. For 20 years, I worked as a chef at a local hospital. Then in 2015, I was laid off from my job due to budget cuts. When that happened, it set me back. I've always worked. So I was like, what do? I don't know about food pantries, social services, or anything like that because I was always employed and I was a single mom with a son to support. The money I received from unemployment covered the rent, but hardly anything else. What remained was maybe $3 a month. In the beginning, there were times when my son Spencer went to bed hungry. I never want him to know that feeling again. He was little then, so he doesn't really remember stuff like that, but now he's 15. I went to the Quincy Community Action Program, and they referred me to the food pantry, the Southwest Community Center. She said, you know, Deb, go to the community center, sign up for food. You should never be embarrassed if you need help. So I did. I started going to the pantry. I did not realize how much fresh food was available because I had always worked and never been to a food pantry. As a former chef, I know the value and importance of eating healthy, fresh food. I came in as a client, but the more I came and got to know everyone, the staff saw that I was willing to help and wasn't working. So they asked me if I wanted to volunteer. I'm strong and I can lift heavy stuff. Which helps a lot in places like food pantries. And I could put others who were visiting the pantry at ease because I understand I've received that help. I've come to realize that there are many people worse off out there than me. I started volunteering 2 days a week, and then eventually it became 5 days a week, about 30 hours a week. Bringing joy to someone's day is such a gift. When they walk through the pantry door looking for help, looking for food, and knowing you can say, yes, we can help you, and seeing that smile on their face and their relief, it means so much. I'm inspired by the people who work there, and it means a lot to me to give something back, to help others. If they're helping me, I figure I should be helping them. I may not have had a job at that time, but I have my health, I have my son, and I have friends. Those are all positive things in my life. I'm blessed in so many ways. The community center means everything to me. They've become my family. They've always ensured my son Spencer was on the Christmas list for gifts. They've made sure he always had a backpack for school. If it weren't for them, I don't know what would be on my dinner table at night. I've always said that if I ever won the lottery or came into money, I would always give back even more. It's so important to lift others when they are going through hard times. If more people would do that, our world would be so much better off. The staff and volunteers of the Greater Boston Food Bank and the Southwest Community Center got me back on my feet. It's as simple as that. I'm proud to share that I recently earned my teaching certificate, and just 2 weeks ago, I started a new position as a children's service advisor, as an advocate and liaison between schools and families. It's my job to ensure that students, especially special need kids, get into the right program. Thank you. I want to further my education once I get established in this job. That's my story. It taught me that I am strong and I am resilient. It's deepened my awareness of those who are struggling around me. It's heightened my understanding of others, my empathy, and especially my gratitude. It's further affirmed my faith in humanity and recognition of the goodness in people's hearts. So if I may, I'd like to make one small request. Give because you can and because you care. Trust me, it will feel so good. There are folks out there who need your help. Life is about compassion, understanding, and kindness. You get back what you give. I hope you know how much your support means to me and all the other single moms and families. There's no other way to say it. The Greater Boston Food Bank and my pantry family that cared for me and my son, they were my lifeline, and there are so many others too. And in turn, so are you. Thank you.
Deborah, what a great story. Thank you for sharing with us, and congratulations on your recent achievements. She whispered in my ear, she said, I'm gonna keep going. That's right. Truly remarkable, and hopefully Deborah has inspired you all in this room to give back too, and it will feel good to know that you're helping single moms like Deborah to put food on the table for their families. Okay, people, you know what time it is? Ladies and gentlemen, now comes the fun part. We have a very ambitious goal to meet this morning. We are striving to provide more than 1 million healthy meals for families in need, and our sponsors have given us a great start, but we really need your help. So, to start, thankfully, Columbia Threadneedle, along with Bill and Margaret Adams, on behalf of MFS, as well as Joanna and Nigel Travis, have each generously stepped forward to match your donations this morning. So, all right, everybody. This is the feel-good part of the morning. Grab your paddles. We have 8 giving levels in our Keep It Fresh, Make a Gift program. And here we go with our first level. $10,000 provides 20,000 healthy meals to local families, children, and seniors to help them thrive. Do we see any paddles raised? 506, 122, 302, 119. Any other $10,000 gifts in the audience? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. $7,500 helps provide 1 month of healthy groceries for 1,100 families through our local health center partners. Do we see any paddles raised for a gift of $7,500? $7,500. We're looking for any $7,500 gifts. We're looking. All right. Let's go on to the $5,000 level. $5,000 supplies 1 year of healthy food for 185 senior citizens through local senior centers. Do I see any paddles for a $5,000 gift? 502, 233, 123, 360, 245, 245? 245. Thank you very much. All right, $2,500 provides healthy food to 1,000 college students through GBFB's Mobile Markets for College Students programs. Do we see any gifts? $2,500 in the audience. 368, 560, 501, 113, 365, 155, 390, 124. Wow. Thank you. A $1,000 gift. With your $1,000, and purchase 600 pounds of mass-grown butternut squash for holiday meals for our neighbors. That's a lot of squash. Yeah. All right. Let's see. $1,000. Number 348, Jody Adams in the front. 192, 150, 144, 169, 282, 522, 322, 266, 175, 237, 222, 287, 214, 289, 283, 364, 520, 354. Thank you. Oh, 193? I see you, 193. Thank you very much. $500 supplies over 720 pounds of fresh produce like apples grown by Massachusetts farmers. Do we see any paddles for $500 gift? 327, 158, 136, 274, 384, 323, 199, 352, 357. A whole table right here. 307, 254, 330, 271, 349, 185. Another whole table. 162, 195, 126, 320, 276, 559, 317, 242, 250, 247, 391, 363, 388. Woo! Woo! Fabulous! $250 will help GBFB to provide 500 meals this holiday season. Let's raise our paddles for $250. Here we go. 129, 234, 550, 226, 392, 177, 140, 139, 382, 379, 556, 215, 517, 341, 362, 152, 182, 385, 106, 515, 285, 172, 184, 561, 137, 315, 395, 316, 340, 249, 130, 277, 108, 256, 514, 380, 595 in the back, 202, 380, 260, 145, 353, 187, 373, 304, 255. I can't read all the way in the back row. 505? Yes, we got it. Woo! And here's our last giving level for the morning. $100 will provide 200 meals to nourish our neighbors in need in Eastern Massachusetts. $100 panels. Please, 100 from Deb Stetler. Thank you. 115, 160, 510, 328, 555, 377, 134, 159, 227, 206, 299, 339, 149, 197, 107, 311, 359, 381, 174, 566, 386, 324, 143, 133, 251, 554, 279, 318, 293, 121, 372, 370, 374, 375, 558, 387, 243, 229, 346, 519, 563, 149. Do we see any other $100 panels in the room? Wow, wow. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Woo, woo. I feel as if we have raised lots of money in the room this morning. Catherine, what do you think? What do you think?
I think we have.
Yeah?
We're waiting for a number.
We're waiting for a number. Let me take this moment to share a few facts with you. 1 in 3, or 1.8 million adults in Massachusetts, reported household food insecurity in Massachusetts in
1.8 million adults.
That's amazing. Collectively, the Greater Boston Food Bank and its partners serve 600,000 people in need every month. 94 cents of every dollar raised by the Greater Boston Food Bank goes directly to support these programs. Every dollar donated and the money that you donated this morning supplies 2 nutritious meals, including fresh produce. Last year, the Greater Boston Food Bank distributed more than 109 million pounds of healthy food, the equivalent of over 90 million meals. And the food pantries that the food bank serves in Eastern Massachusetts rely on us for 80% of the food that they distribute. Our agency partners universally seen a nearly 50% increase in demand for food, and they are asking the Greater Boston Food Bank for even more. Isn't that right, Catherine?
Yes. Okay, you're good. Here's the number. We have worked together so often. This is like, I can't believe it's she terrific? And let's
Tell us. Okay, all right, we got a good number. In the room this morning, we raised $137,300. And the total for this year's Women Fighting Hunger breakfast, including our corporate contributions, our matches, etc., $662,300. Woo!
okay, I'll finish up.
That's it. That is it.
So we've reached our time and a little bit over, but that's the goal. I think was 1 million meals. I think this clearly shot that. Completely overdid it. So thank you. It's almost 1.3 million, over 1.3 million meals. So over that. So I do want to just say thank you. I know you all have places to go, things to do, bosses to get stuff done for today. I do know that and understand that. I appreciate that you've spent some time with us here. I want to thank our Board of Directors, Board of Advisors, Team GBFB, our volunteers, our partners, our sponsors, especially National Grid, who stood up and really jumped into this, the Women Fighting Hunger Committee, past honorees and past co-chairs, Courtney and Heather, thank you so much for your leadership. Courtney, there we go. And look, we just want to say thank you. We're going to end here. We're going to send you love letters, and we're going to send you love emails, and you're going to get all kinds of stuff from us. And well, I appreciate that. But thank you for coming this AM and for fueling us this morning to know that we can actually build the power to end hunger. Good morning.